In the 2018-2019 season, I was watching them heavily. That was the year that I think there was a stretch where they were the 10th, 11th seed, but they played really competitive basketball. That team was very deep. That was the year that DJ Augustine was great in game one against Toronto. And I told my friend, the Magic will make the playoffs. Watch out for the Magic. They'll make the playoffs. Evan Fournier was great that year, along with Vucevic. Terrence Ross off the bench was a flamethrower. And we'll get into this right now because I want to get your takes on it.
All right, perfect. Let's go.
Evan Fournier, he just got signed by my New York Knicks. I love this signing. I think Fournier fits our team. Floor spacer, can create his own shot at sometimes. But Riv, he doesn't like Fournier. He calls him a cone on defense. He says that with Boston, he averaged 13 points. He's not going to do much for the Knicks. So I'll start with you, Jonathan, because you like Fournier. Give me your analysis on Evan Fournier and who the Knicks are getting as a player.
All right, so this is what I'll say. Just first of all, in defense of Evan Fournier's time in Orlando, Evan is a very polarizing figure when you talk to Magic fans, especially on like Magic Twitter, the Orlando Magic subreddit. Evan Fournier, in his time in Orlando, for the most part, was miscast. He was always asked to carry far too much of an offensive load. You look at his time in Orlando, 16 points per game in 7 seasons, shot 45% from the floor, 37% from the three-point line. If he's going to be a guy, for the Knicks that he should be, when you have guys like Julius Randle, RJ Barrett, Derrick Rose, Alec Burks, like in that offense, best case scenario, Evan Fournier should be like your third, fourth option offensively. If he's just asked sometimes to play make, be a, secondary, even like a third ball handler, knock down open three-pointers, that is the perfect role for Evan Fournier. In Orlando, he was asked a lot of the time to be the primary ball handler. Magic fans got so sick and tired of the high pick and roll with Evan Fournier and Nikola Vucevic in late game situations, and Evan either making mistakes or forcing up a bad shot or whatever the case may be at the time. And that's just not the guy that he is. That's not the type of guy that he should be on a good team. Now, you guys look back at the Celtics-Nets playoff series from earlier this year. Kevin Durant started talking trash to Evan Fournier, and Fournier went right at him like, yo, you don't talk to me like that. There were some unpleasantries exchanged between the two of those. So I think he fits like the New York Knicks, like the New York mentality, put him with Tibbs, with a lot of those other guys that we talked about. And I think you guys are going to be, pleasantly surprised with Evan Fournier. Now, $19 million a year, I'm not going to lie, that's steep. Like, that is steep. But I think in the right role, he can live up to that contract. And Luke is going to go the complete other way with this. So we can just...
Yeah, I mean, so the thing with Fournier, Jonathan opened my eyes to the truth that Evan Fournier was severely miscast in Orlando. Like he said, he was asked to do things that really made him the villain. Now, my thing is that Jonathan would say that, and I would say, yeah, but if he's getting paid what he's getting paid, and he's really the second option on this team most of the time down the stretch, he's maybe the number one option down the stretch. You have that role. You better be ready for the critiques. And I think that a lot of people that are Magic fans who, were Evan truthers would tell you, why are you hating on him? He's just miscast. But the honest truth is, if you're in that role, you're going to get hate from me because I don't care that you're all I've got. If you're making dumb plays down the stretch, I'm going to let everybody know about it. And there was that many times. Evan Fournier had a lot of game winners. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yeah. He had a lot of game winners. And in one time, was it 2017 or 2018, Jonathan, that we found that, you had told me about it as well, that he had like one of the highest clutch ratings in the league that year. I mean, you can't call him not clutch, but it just really is not ideal for him. The amount of times where he did something stupid in crunch time and cost the Magic the game, but it is going to happen when you have so many times where you're the guy. Unfortunately, nobody else was there to do it for him. It wasn't going to be Aaron Gordon. Markel's been hurt. Like Jonathan Isaac's been hurt. He really, no one was helping him either in terms of being healthy and helping him. But yeah, I'm not a huge Fournier fan, but I do think in New York being the option that he's going to be there and not having to be the number one or two, I think he's going to thrive. I mean, you saw it last year with Boston. Yes, he only averaged 13 points a game, but he also shot 46% from three, which is absurd for almost 6 attempts a game. So if he can just be a guy that has to hit open shots, occasionally, create his own shot too, something the Knicks don't really have right now, and something that they really needed was a shot creator, just an additional one. I think that he'll be able to kind of thrive in New York.
So what you're telling me is, I'm not saying these two guys are the same player, but what you're telling me is they paid him $19 million.
Steep.
To be a little bit better than Reggie Bullock on offense and less Reggie Bullock on defense. That's what you're telling me.
I mean, yeah, they like we have said, like it's definitely steep for Evan Fournier. I don't agree with the contract. I agree with the fit. And I think that's the difference there. I think that fit-wise, he's going to be great. And maybe he ends up being worth that much just because of what he's able to bring to the team. But I agree. I mean, Reggie Bullock is, he had points last year where he had, stretches where he's hitting that three ball really well. And Knicks fans are going insane. And I will admit, Evan Fournier is not the most talented defender. So, Riv, hear me when I say I know he's being overpaid in New York, but it could end up being okay.
The last thing I'll say in defense of Evan Fournier is you're asking Reggie Bullock a lot of time to guard the other player's best perimeter player. You should never be asking Evan Fournier to guard the other team's best perimeter player.
You don't think Fournier is a good defender at all? Do you agree?
He is a very good team defender.
Okay,
that's fair.
But one-on-one, if you talk about guys that are really elite in the NBA, breaking you down off of the dribble, Evan Fournier would not be the first guy that I would choose in that scenario.
His knees are turning to dust if he's going on.
Riv called Fournier a cone. Do you agree with that sentiment?
I would not say a cone. Maybe a cone with legs. I don't know, but he's not going to be a Drew Holiday or anything like that. But no, he is a good, solid, team defender. He's, for the shooting guard position, he's got good size. Again, he's a fairly athletic guy. But no, he's not exactly Reggie Bullock defensively. But I don't think a cone is fair.
I don't think Reggie Bullock was that good defensively, to be honest. I saw him get broken down multiple times. Tom Thibodeau is a great coach. He brings out the best in his players. Julius Randle was not known for being a good defender. Now Randle is a great defender with Tom Thibodeau. A team defender, I think, is more important than an on-ball defender. Throughout the course of the game, I think in late possessions where there are ISOs, that matters more. But team defense, to me, that's what's important with Fournier. And Riv, I disagree with something you said. Oh, God. Reggie Bullock, even if he was asked to play a role like Fournier played in Orlando, he couldn't even live up to his shoes. Reggie Bullock at max is 14 a game. He can't give you nothing more. He can't do anything off the dribble. Fournier, 2019, averaged 18.5 points per game in Orlando.
You're gonna tell me? Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
He shot 40% from three, 47% from the field. And before getting traded to Boston, he averaged close to 20 a game. Reggie Bullock could never do that. It's not a slight upgrade. It's a major upgrade.
No, but it's not a major upgrade because Fournier is going to go to New York and be asked to do what Reggie did slightly a little bit more. So it's not like he's going to put up that 19 that he put up with Orlando
and
or 18 or 17.
The contract, I understand, $19 million, it sounds steep. But when you look at what Joe Harris is getting paid in Brooklyn, $18.5 million, I think Fournier is a better player than Joe Harris. So I think that contract is fair for Fournier. I don't think that's too bad.
I think really where the Knicks will get the value out of Fournier is going to be in the playoffs when the game slows down. Like, you're not going to look at Evan Fournier's regular season stats and be like, okay, we paid this guy $19 million. But, the Knicks, if they're hoping to get past the second round next year, Evan Fournier is a guy that, and, Luke's going to bring up the fact that Evan Fournier has not been good in the playoffs in his career, and that's 100% a fact. But if he's able to turn that around in New York as a Knick, again, when the playoff game slows down and you guys need another ball handler, that's where you're going to get the value, Fournier versus Reggie Bullock, I think.
All it takes is one run, right? Kyle Lowry, before the championship run, was known as a playoff choker. Now he wins with Kawhi. Kyle Lowry, he's a leader you need on your team. Chris Middleton, before this season.
We don't like Kyle Lowry in these parts for a lot of reasons. But, no, I get what you're saying.
And Chris Middleton, before this playoff run, he was viewed as a liability. And now we saw this postseason, he's now enamored. And everybody's like, Chris Middleton is the real deal. I'm not saying that's going to be Fournier, but I'm saying I could see Fournier having a series where he's lights out from three. He does really well from the field, and he's just doing what he does for the Knicks, especially when we face the Hawks in the playoffs next year and we get our revenge on them. That's for sure.
Do y'all remember? I know, like you said, Joel, you said it only takes one run, and I have a prime example, and it's a Magic example. Nikola Vucevic against Toronto. Against Toronto, nobody was a fan of Vucevic after that Toronto series. So much so that people were saying, trade him now. Just get him off the team. I don't even want to look at him anymore, because against Toronto, he averaged 11 points and shot 36% from the field. But then, like you said, it just takes that one run out of a player, and you win back the entire fan base and what people think of you. The next year against Milwaukee, Vucevic last year, 28 points, 11 rebounds, 40% from three on almost 9 attempts a game. So you win back the entire fan base in one run. I do agree with your sentiment, Joel, that it only takes one run for a player to win back the fans and win back the people like Riv, who might say, Fournier isn't all that, and he's just Bullock, but worse on defense.
No, I love to hear the Vucevic numbers. That just made me.
Well, too bad for you.
That's our guy.
Well, too bad for you. He'll be Vucevic versus Toronto for the Bulls more so than he'll be Vucevic versus the Bucks.
Wow.
No, I can't wait. Okay.
Now I got to step in here and disagree. All right. You can besmirch whoever you want. You do not talk bad about Nikola Vucevic.
You know what's
one of
crazy?
the top 5 Magic players of all time.
You know what's crazy is that
really?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
He
I mean,
could
you got Dwight, Shaq, Tracy McGrady, Penny Hardaway, and then Nikola Vucevic. I mean, we can
Grant Hill?
Grant Hill.
Played like
Grant
200
Ankles
games
Hill.
in 6 years.
Yeah. Oh no, I mean, no. If we're not talking about like over the course of their careers, because we've had like Patrick Ewing played for the Magic.
Oh, yeah.
Dominique played for the Magic. We're talking about guys strictly in a Magic uniform.
Yeah.
I don't have all the numbers in front of me, but Vooch ranks top 10 many Magic stats. It's pretty.
You're
crazy.
kicking out Nick Anderson basically to put Vooch 5, and that's completely fine. With the run he had against Milwaukee, I don't care that Orlando lost that series. I don't care about any of that. For a dude to average to be, what he was, who came into the league not being able to shoot the 3 ball especially, and then shoot 8.8 threes a game and shoot 41% from 3, that dude's got my respect forever. And I didn't think I was going to ever forgive him from that Toronto series, and he made me pay for it the next year.
If I'm not mistaken, Vucevic was a part of that Iguodala trade or the Bynum trade?
The Dwight Howard trade.
The Dwight Howard trade. Okay.
Yep. Iguodala going to Denver. It was like a 4-team trade, I believe. But yeah, we ended up with Vooch, and nobody thought he was going to be anything. Turns into a 2-time All-Star. He's our best player. Both of the years we went to the playoffs in 2019 and 2020. So yeah, Vooch is a fan favorite for sure.